One second, let's prepare. This morning. Oh, shit, I did that. Dang. All right, there we go. Perfect. Um, so here's the thing. Sometimes you have teachers, sometimes you have educators, sometimes you have instructors. A teacher is someone who goes in, they teach the course or the subject, whether it's elementary school, middle school, high school, college, an ESL class. They go in, they get a syllabus or they get a textbook. The academic director says, or whoever's in
They
charge,
teach in the
supervisor for,
conventional way.
well, not even the conventional way. They teach in a way where they just get it done. So the supervisor or the coordinator or whoever's in charge says, I want you to teach these pages, all right, from the
Mhm.
textbook, or I want you to ask them to do these worksheets. And that's all the teacher does. He passes out the worksheets, he goes over the pages, and that's it, right? Normally it's read aloud, it's watch a video, it's ask questions, give answers, little discussion, and it's very simple, right? Out in and out. That's that is teaching. Now, any basically anyone can do that. And you mentioned earlier that, you have AI, right? AI can replace the teacher. And that's absolutely true. Because here's the thing about teaching and learning. One, um, no one can teach anyone anything. People teach themselves. Okay. So the term teacher is not really, it's not the right term. We've been using it for, 100 years. Teacher. But people actually teach yourself. Somebody stands in front of you, and then they decide, the learners decide, or the students decide whether they want to accept the information or not. Sometimes the learners or the students don't want to accept the information for whatever reason, for many reasons. And other times they want to accept the information for reasons. And I'm going to explain why in a second. But teachers, and listen, don't get me wrong, teachers they're not bad people, right?
Mhm.
They're just doing a job. They're doing a job that they're given. And sometimes well qualified and educated people, they have the mindset of a teacher. And again, for many, many reasons. And sometimes people who don't really know what they're doing, they kind of have to be a teacher because they haven't been trained on how to be an educator. Okay. To be an educator, you have to be trained. Right? Like for instance, I'm American, right? I had to go through years and years and years of training to become an educator, even though I had the qualifications, and it was well beyond even college and university, right? The professional developments and evaluation. I had to take a lot of tests, and I had to go through a lot of internal teaching myself how to become an educator. So becoming an educator is not just about going to school, taking a class, getting a degree, getting a certificate, getting a license. It's far more than that. Um, Even though those things will put you down that road, being an educator is really about the motivation you have and how much energy you want to put into doing your job the right way. Okay, so I want to make that point clear. Just because you have all the fancy degrees and the license doesn't make you an educator. You can still become a teacher. All right,
Mhm.
teachers, and then you can have no degree. You can have no license, right? And be an educator, right? Because of the things that you do when you are in front of learners or students. Okay, the the processes, the strategies that you use. Um, Teachers use strategies, but they typically use limited strategies. Okay, Educators have many tools in their toolbox, right? So I don't know. Do you have a toolbox in home at home? Do you have a toolbox?
Mm,
You own no, you don't have to get it. Do you own one? Do you own a
no,
toolbox? Okay. All right. So how old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, so you're not at the stage yet where you're gonna, but eventually one day you're gonna get at the stage where you're gonna want a toolbox, right? And then you're gonna want every man gets to this stage. You get it, you want a toolbox, and then you're gonna get some pliers, and you're gonna get some hammer, and you're gonna get some screwdrivers. And the next thing you know, every time you go to the Saco or any store that sells hardware, you want to get a special type of pliers, a special type of screwdriver, a special type of hammer. And then next thing you know, after years, you're gonna have all these tools. And you're gonna have a tool that does everything. One you have set for the car, set for the house, you're gonna have tools for plumbing, you're gonna have tools for everything that you could possibly imagine. Everything that you could possibly imagine, you're gonna have tools for it. And you're not gonna know like where you got the tools, how you got the tools. You know you paid for them, or maybe somebody gave them to you, or whatever. But you're gonna collect all these tools over time.
Mm.
And not only are you going to collect these tools, but you are going to know how to use them over time. You're going to know how to use those tools efficiently and effectively over time. You're going to learn how to know. So over time, you're going to go from having a couple tools to having all these tools. Over time, you're going to go from not really knowing how to use the tool the right way to getting to it. You know how to use all your tools, what situation, what tool you need for that situation. And that comes over time. And that, when you buy a house, when you need to fix your car, when you need to help your buddy out, all these situations basically grow your knowledge, and not only your
Your
knowledge, but your
decisions as well and how
right,
to make it.
make your decision making, what to do, and then you get to the point where you can then now instruct your children or other people on how to use their tools and how to organize their tools and how to maintain their tools. All right, it's the same thing with teaching. Okay, it's the same thing with teaching. Over time, you have a little bit of tools, and through time and through knowledge and taking courses and working with people and having different jobs and learning and getting degrees and certificates and licenses, that you begin to transition from teacher to educator. Some people do it faster than others because they just have God gave them that ability to do that well with a little bit of knowledge and learning. And then some of us, like myself, right, it took a little
Mhm.
bit longer to transition from teacher to educator. Now, just like those tools and that knowledge that you gain, that's what we call method. All right. Method are the things that we do with learners, with students to help them be their own teacher. See, a teacher is someone who feels like if I give you the information, you should receive it, and then you can pass the test. That's how a teacher thinks. An
Yes,
educator
they
says,
are just like in automatic way, just to give them this mission. If they fulfill and save this answers and these questions, it should be matched with this answer, and this answer should be matched with this question, and they just doing a job, not to learn something new, not
and
like
so a
the
teacher, again, don't
learner.
get me
It
wrong.
is. Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. Teachers are not bad. I'm trying to not. I don't want to
Mhm.
make them think like they're bad people or they're evil or they're doing something wrong. It's that's no. It's just a mindset that they have. And I know people who have been teaching for 20 years and still have this mindset. Oh, I told you the information. Why didn't you remember it? This is easy. teachers say things like this. This is so easy. We did it 5 times this week. Come on, guys. Why didn't you do better on the quiz? Right? These are things the teacher says. Educators educators operate differently. Educators say, I don't know if this is going to be easy or hard for you. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it's going to be easy. I don't know. We're going to do it so many different ways. All right. And I'm going to let you tell me and guide me and ask me questions to help you get the knowledge, get it in your head so you can understand it and move up Bloom's taxonomy. All right.
And
Teachers
also when
also,
I
go ahead.
yeah, in the model one, the day one, the theories of crashing, when he said that even the way you interact with these students, like when they said, let's see, the student want to compound a sentence and he get it wrong in some part of it. So instead, if he's saying I went to the shop yesterday, let's assume that he mistake in the verb went and he said go. I go to the shop yesterday. So that he in the Croatian theories, he focusing on the way the teacher should interact with these mistakes and how he could encourage the students himself. So he put him instead of saying the teacher would actually or in most of times they would stop the student and say no, it's wrong, you should replace the go verb with the went because it's in the past and how this is how to work with the context. But the educator, he would say, oh good, you went to the store yesterday and what also have you done there, or what also have you do or have you did there, something like this. So he illustrate the mistake and in the same time he encouraged him in
Absolutely.
indirect way. So
So that's
the Cartian theories and his methodologies as well, it's something to behold and thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So make a good point about crashing, and that theory that you just explained is called the effective filter theory. And so the whole idea is that as an educator, our job is to make the students filter as small as possible. And what is the filter? The filter is the apprehension and the anxiety that students have. And we can either make it big by being
Smart.
mean or by not helping them or not having a lot of tools in our toolbox, right? Or we can make it small by smiling, by being kind, by doing the things you said, recognizing what they did right. I go to the store. I go to the store yesterday. Absolutely, you went to the store yesterday. Very good. You went to the store. I knew. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You went right. That's called recasting. Recasting is a great way to give the student credit for what they did right because he did more things right than he did wrong, right? But also allow them to hear the correct way to say it without making them feel bad about it, without scolding them for. No, it's not. I go is I went. You don't have to go through all that. You just have to recast it and model it in the proper way. Yeah, I went to the store yesterday, right? So yes, that's a part of Crashing's effective filter theory, right? Um, and these are the things that educators do. And there's a lot of theories, right? There's a lot of method. All right. So there's two words you might hear people say: methodology and method. Methodology is the study of method. Method is the actual practice. So when you have to study the methodology to do the practice, right? This is what I was going talking about the toolbox and gaining tools. Basically,
Mhm.
the methodology is gaining the tools, buying the tools from Sacco. But just because you buy the tools from Saco doesn't mean you know how to use the tools. You just now have tools, right? But
Right.
then
Yes.
when you go to use them in real life practice, you begin to learn how to use the tool, the most efficient and effective way to use the tool. Okay. That is method. So a lot of times people forget a step, jump the step. They want to go right the method. No, you have to gain the tool and the practice, and then know how to use it. So methodology, the study of it, and then method, the use of it. Okay, and that's what educators do. Sometimes teachers just want to get the method. Oh, I'm going to take a professional development and I'm gonna get the method. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, because you got to know how to use the method in the right situation. And the one thing a good educator does is a good educator knows what to do and when to do it. Now let's move over to student versus learner now. A student is someone who, again, like the teacher, and again, the student is not bad. It's not a bad person, but they're there because somebody told them to be there, right? Somebody told them to be there, whether they're in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, they have to be there. Government, mom, mother, father, somebody told them to be there. And they could be a good student. They follow all the rules, they get good grades, right? And but they didn't really learn anything. They just got good grades. They did everything they were supposed to do, but they didn't really learn anything. A learner is someone who is curious, right? They ask questions in class. They're genuinely curious. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Sometimes learners don't do well in the class. Why? Because if you have a learner in the class and a teacher teaching, see, teachers want to teach students, right? And educators want to teach learners. But
Learnings.
sometimes you may have a student in a class and an educator as a teacher. They'll do okay together, but it's
They're not
more of
fit
a
so well with each other.
it's more of kind of like give me the I'm gonna do this for you. Like the educator wants more, but the student wants to do enough to get the good grade or passing grade, right? The learner is going to ask questions and be curious and sometimes be a little pain in the butt, you know, because they ask so many questions and they're so curious. The other problem with the learner is it's harder to keep the learner's attention if the teacher doesn't have a lot of information about the topic or knows a lot about how to engage learners, right? So learners are really curious, and sometimes they don't do well in school because they are so curious, and the school is not doing, or the course is not doing for them what they want, what they need. Now, I'm gonna move on to something else, and this is when I want you to take notes. This is not in the module because the module is that's for just the 20-hour course. You're taking a 120-hour course. Okay. So I didn't include this in the 20-hour course. Motivation. All right. There's two types of motivations. Okay.
Okay,
Actually,
I'm gonna before you continue. Sorry to for interrupting you. Uh, I might take some notice already for the learner and the student because I
yeah,
know the learner is
this is not learning and
always
student. I'm moving on to something different now. This
yeah,
is
yeah,
not in
okay.
the this is not in the module. Okay. So I want to, because this is important for TESOL. This is very important, what I'm about to tell you. Motivation. Just title your notes motivation. Okay. That there are four types of motivations, actually. And they come in two groups. You have intrinsic and extrinsic. Okay. Intrinsic. Some people are motivated intrinsically, and some people are motivated extrinsically. Okay. All right. So you have intrinsic motivation and you have extrinsic motivation. Okay. Um, when you're intrinsically motivated, you do it because you want to do it. Okay. Um, when you're extrinsically motivated, you do it because
You want to get great or pass the exam, something like
no,
this.
extrinsic, you do it for an outside motivation. You do it for someone else.
Hmm.
Okay. You do it for someone else. You do it for your mother. You do it for your father. You do it because it's going to make somebody else happy. And a lot of people are in school or they do things to make their wife happy, to make their children happy. Extrinsic motivation. Okay. Then you have intrinsic motivation. You do it because it makes you feel good. It makes you don't
Yes.
even need money for doing it. It just you feel good. You wake up in the morning and you just feel good about doing it, right? You enjoy doing it. Okay. Then now you also have instrumental motivation. All right. Instrumental motivation is when you do things for something. In Latin, there's something called quid pro quo, something for something. So instrumental motivation is when you do something for like money or a
Hmm.
car, right? So I want to become a medical doctor because doctors make a lot of money, right? Doctors can, they make a lot of money. Or I want to be an engineer because engineers make a lot of money, right? Instrumental
Hmm.
motivation. That's interesting. Oh, I want to be a entertainer because entertainer have all the women love the entertainers. Oh, the women love the entertainers. That's instrumental motivation. Okay. And you will have these learners in your classroom, these type of people. So it's important that you know what how people are motivated. Then you have integrative motivation. Integrative motivation is when somebody is learning to be a part of the group. All right,
Mm.
they're learning to be a part of the group. So, like in an English course, someone may be taking English because they want to be included in the group. All right, all their other friends learn know English and they want to learn English too, so they can be a part of the group. So they're not getting paid anything for it. Um, so there's not instrumental motivation. It's kind of intrinsic, but it's really not. They're just really doing it to be a part of a group. We call it integrative motivation. So
Mhm.
when you are in a classroom, you have to determine um, with your learners or your students, are they intrinsically motivated? Are they extrinsically motivated? Are they instrumentally motivated? Are they integratively motivated? If you know these things, it will help you engage the learners differently. Now, when you have what are you teaching right now?
Yes, and I
Where
see
are you
this
teaching?
for students. Teaching in tourism and hospitality college.
Okay, good. So one of the first things that you want to do when you get a group of students, like first day, right, is ask them, why are you here? And
Uh,
they're gonna look at you like, huh? Why are you here? Right? You want to ask every student that by the first week because it's going to help you engage them, right? It's going to help you help them motivate them when they're feeling down, when they're feeling, frustrated. It's going to help you have a better relationship with them because you're going to be able to say, "Oh, well,
and a good
I know you're
connection
here."
as well.
A great connection because you can always use that as leverage to keep them motivated and so
Mhm.
when what points to stress. So when a learner doesn't really care about something, it automatically click in your mind, oh, he doesn't care about this because this is not his motivation, right?
Mhm.
And that's good for the teacher, the educator, or the instructor to know. It's good for them to know that. So you don't get angry. They don't get angry. There's no tension because you can say, oh, okay, I know he I know he's not motivated by this, so this is not going to motivate him. This is not going to make him happy. Or I know if I say he may get it because now this is connects with his motivation.
This will
These are the
his
things,
for his rigor as well. Mhm.
right, for his progress. These are the things that educators do. Why? Because understand you don't teach a class in your tourism class. Let's say you have 11 people in your tourism class. You're not teaching a class. You're teaching individuals. Okay.
Mhm.
You're teaching individuals in that class. You're not teaching a class. Each you teaching if it's 11 different people, and it might be 11 different strategies you might have to use on any given basis. So this is called the learner profile. So in order to do like Krashen's effective filter theory or whatever, I plus one is another Krashen theory. In order to implement those theories, you first need a learner profile. That's why I said the first thing you do, you should be well, first introduce yourself. But the first thing you should do is ask them why they're there, especially because how old are your students? Are they right at like college age or are they older?
Yes, the college age. Some of
So they're like,
them in the 20 or 19s.
right.
Some of
So
them
they're young
reached to
adults. They
23,
young
22.
adults. Right. So they're young adults now. They're
Yes,
not kids. They're not kids. So
in the same time, yes.
it is very important. It's essential, not important. It is critical to ask them, why are you here? Now you don't have to ask them. I would suggest not to ask them in person in class, but have them fill out like a Google form where they can give you a sincere answer. Because if you ask them in class, number one, you may forget what they said, right? So it's important to have them fill like a Google form. You can present the form to them in class. Hey guys, here's the link. Go on your phones, click this Google link, and on the form, you ask the question, maybe one question, their name, and why are you attending this course? And you'll be
Mm.
surprised to, read some of the responses. I'm here because of this, and it's going to be so enlightening. And you must take that information and start to create a learner profile. So you know, okay, I know Muhammad's here for this. I know Salih's here for this. I know Abdul Rahman's here for this. I know Mansour's here for this, right? This is good, what we call intelligence, good intel, so you know how to engage your learners. Now, I'm gonna move you through this really quickly because it's only one of you, okay? Now, what do we take with that learner profile? I'm gonna share my screen and show you something. Are you familiar with Bloom's taxonomy?
Uh, Blooms, I don't think he's in the model day one.
He's not in the model. He is in the model in the other days, but I'm gonna do this quickly with you. I'm not gonna, there's no need to waste a lot of time.
No, let me see him and
No,
some
don't
of
worry
them.
about it. I'm gonna explain everything now. Don't worry about it.
Mhm.
Give me 1 second. Let me just get the one from my all right. You see my screen?
Yes.
All right. This is uh this is an infographic on Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. This is essential for any instructor, teacher, educator to know. Your job as a instructor, teacher, educator is help learners get to a certain point in their thinking abilities. Because you don't want them just to have information. You want them to be able to use the information, right? Right? Critically. You want
Mhm.
them to be able to use it, right? To go into, I guess, the tourism industry, correct?
Yes.
Because they're going to be tour guides, they're going to work at museums, right? They're going to do things like this, right? Work for the government. So
Yes.
you
Something like this related to these specialties as well.
absolutely. So you want whatever information that you give them, you want them to be able to use it meaningfully, right? In
Mm.
their career. So your our job as educators, teachers, or instructor is to move them up Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is a thinking, it's about thinking, right? And I call it about independence and thinking. Okay. How
Ah.
independent can I help a person be in their thinking with the information that I'm giving? And it doesn't matter if you're teaching math, English, science, doesn't matter what you're teaching. Bloom's taxonomy, you can always use Bloom's to help move people to independence in their own thinking. Okay. And so also teachers don't just use this, but in corporate America, Amazon uses this taxonomy, Ford, Tesla, the big companies use this when they do
Mm.
trainings, all right, when they do trainings and things like this. Because again, Elon Musk, what? Jeff Bezos, they want their employees to be what? Independent thinkers so they can make good decisions to help the business, right? So let's look at the bottom. All right. Now remember, I talked to you about the learner profile, right? All right. This
Yes.
is where we figure out one of the things that we figure out in the learner profile is if they're intrinsically motivated, extrinsically motivated, integratively motivated, instrumentally motivated, right? Right. That's
Mhm.
one of the things we figure out. We put in the learner profile. The other thing that we figure out is where are they in their current knowledge on the topic? So another thing that you want to do before you even teach a lesson, a module, a unit is determine how much they already know about that unit that you want to teach or that module that you want to teach. You need to because you may have a lot of the people or some of the people may not just be at the bottom of the taxonomy, they may be in the middle of the taxonomy. And again, we teach individuals, we don't teach a class. Now, a little bit different for an instructor because the instructor will teach everyone regardless of their at the same level, regardless of their current knowledge, right? So
Mm.
instructors are a little bit different. So if I'm a pilot instructor, right, and I'm teaching people how to fly a plane, right, or a helicopter, right,
Mm.
I don't care how much prior knowledge you already have. I'm going to teach you the company way or the way the government told me to teach you from 0 to 10. That's the difference in an instructor. All right. So the
Mm.
instructor really doesn't care about someone's prior knowledge too much because they want them to follow a certain process. Right. Well, as teachers and educators, we care about prior knowledge, right? Because we're not instructors. So one of the things you want to do is in order to have to meet the needs of your learners is to make sure that you give them a pretest before you teach every module and make sure and then include that in the learner profile because everyone may not be at the same level. And that student who's a little bit more advanced than everyone else, they can get bored easily. They can get frustrated easily. Just like if you try to teach too advanced and they don't have a basic knowledge, they can get frustrated and confused easily, right? So you need to know where everyone is on this module so you can give them different. or we can call what we call differentiate the instruction, give them something a little bit different to do, teach up. So let's look at the bottom of the pyramid, knowledge. Knowledge, the other thing I need to mention is that when you're looking at where they fall in their abilities and their thinking abilities regarding the module, it needs to be compared to the standard. So what is the standard, right? So like for instance, if you were teaching first grade math, right? Would you expect a first grader to be able to multiply three digits? So would you expect a first grader to be able to multiply 235 times 564?
Mm.
A first
No,
grader, can a first grader do that?
no, I don't think.
No, the first that's too hard for a first grader. Way too hard. You don't learn that till
Yes.
what? Maybe the third grade. Maybe third graders, fourth graders, right? That's three-digit numbers because in the first grade, we what? They add one-digit numbers, 2 plus 4 and 7 plus 3 and 1 plus 1, right? That's what they do in the first grade, right? However, do you think there's some first graders that can add 25 plus 22? Yes, there might be one or two. So the teacher needs to know that. And you need to compare that based on the standard. So where should those people be based on their level or based on the class that they're currently in? Right? All this is included in the learner profile. So you know who you have in your class, right? You could do the same thing with tourism. And the pretest will help you determine this. Okay. In the pretest, you can figure out does everyone in the class, they don't know anything about this topic. That means
Yes.
they will be at the knowledge level, right? Now, it's important that you remember this because the next thing that I tell you is going to be connected to this. Okay. Now, you see these verbs inside the light bulb here? These are verbs
Yes.
like arrange. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Is that a little bit better for you?
Yes. I
Arrange.
already zoom in too much so I
Okay, good,
can read it so clearly.
good, good. So these
Mhm.
for knowledge, that means a person or the people that you have in your class, they
Mhm.
have limited information about the topic. They really don't know anything about the topic. So you're going to start at the knowledge level for them. So
Mhm.
when you write objectives for them, what we call smart objectives, which we're going to talk about after we talk about this, is you're going to use words like or make them do things like arrange, define, describe,
Mhm.
indicate, identify, label, match, memorize. These are the things that you're going to have them do, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
If now imagine somebody was at the analysis level. You think they want to define? No, they're too advanced for that. You have to give them something else to do. That's why the learner profile is important. Okay. Now, let's say just for hypothetical purposes, you have 11 students in your class, and all 11 students they don't know anything about what you're about to teach them. Nothing. Very limited. So you're gonna start them at the knowledge level. You're gonna have them arrange things, define, list, match, reproduce, recall, select, right? But
Mhm.
you're not gonna have them do that all week. That might be day one. Day two, you're going to move up this taxonomy, right?
Mhm.
Then you're going to have to classify, convert. Why? With these verbs, help them with comprehension. Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
So, so knowledge is knowing what this is, right? So let's go for a second. You know a lot about cars.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we open up the hood of your car, right?
Mhm.
Right? And let's say you're showing your wife the engine. Your wife don't know anything about the cars, right? You say,
Okay.
honey, this is an engine, right? Okay, honey, this is the transmission. Okay, honey, this is the alternator. Oh, okay, honey, this is the battery, right? What you're
Mm.
doing now is you're labeling. You see the label, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did
And
find
say,
something.
right, and then you can say, honey, the engine, this is what makes the car move, right? This is the
Okay.
power of the car, right? Honey, the battery, this is what gives the car the lights, and again, it helps to power the
Electric things,
electric.
yes.
Right. So you give it basic, you don't get into too much. You say this is what it is and this is what it does. And you keep it basic, right?
Yes.
Right. You say, honey, and you point to it, you say, honey, what is this? Oh, I think that's the alternator. Okay. And what does that do? Oh, it keeps the battery running after the car is on, right? Okay,
Mm.
good, honey. And then the next day you take it to the car. Now you want to deal with comprehension. You're moving her up the taxonomy. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now with comprehension, you want her to be able to know how the relationship between the alternator and the battery, the
Mm-hmm.
alternator and the engine, the belts, right? You want her to know the different how they now work together. That's
Yes.
comprehension. That's comprehending, understanding what's going on, right? So now
So they are
when
deep in their knowledge a little bit more.
deepening the knowledge to beyond knowledge now, because knowledge is to be able to say, this is the engine, this is the alternator. Now with
Mm.
comprehension, say, okay, this is the relationship between the alternator and the battery. This is the relationship between the alternator and the engine. So if she's in the car one day and the car doesn't turn on, she can
Mhm.
say, what now? Oh, maybe my battery's dead. Or she turns the car on, it runs a little bit, and then it dies. She could say, oh, maybe something's wrong with my alternator, right? She can now, because now she understands how it works, how the whole engine bay works together, right? So in
Yes.
the knowledge phase, how the different components work by themselves, and the comprehension phase, how they work together. In the application phase, now she's able to do what? Maybe you teach her how to change the battery. Okay, babe, the battery is no longer any good, right? And I'm going to show you how to test the battery now. Okay, here's the battery tester. Now this is okay. If it's at this level of amps,
Mm.
you need a new battery. Or if it's at this level amp, you go to the store and you tell them to recharge it. Don't have them buy you a new. You don't need to buy a new battery. You just need it recharged. Okay. Or but if it's here, if it's at this level, okay, now you need a whole new battery. Right now she's able to apply. All right, honey. If the car doesn't start, take the hammer in the back and
Mm.
bang the alternator, bang the alternator,
Uh,
right? Why? Because and then you're gonna say it may come on, right? You still need to change the alternator, but you can get home at least, right? By banging the alternator. This is applying. This is application. Okay, this is
mhm.
application. Moving her up Bloom's taxonomy. Moving her up the taxonomy. Now Now you're going to move it to analysis, where she's able to analyze things. And analysis, she's going to do things like analyze, appraise, calculate, categorize, compare, distinguish, infer. Big one is when they're able to get your learners to infer. That's a big one, right?
Mm.
Inference, being able to take something and then draw a conclusion from what they already have. That's a huge one that we want learners to do. Identify, point out, question, right? So now she's able to analyze certain issues in the car. All right. Oh, I hear that. I hear this that belt squeaking. Oh, that's the belt for the to the, one of the pulleys. That's one of my pulleys making that noise like that. She's able to analyze problems. Oh, why is the steering wheel vibrating? What, maybe it's one of my tie rods or something like this, right? One of my rods, right? Something's going on
Mm.
with the wheel system or the suspension, right? Okay. So when you get to the analysis phase, this now we're moving into higher order thinking. Actually, when you get to the application phase, you're moving into higher order thinking, analysis. You're going up the pyramid, right? So we're taking
Mhm.
them and we're taking them whether it's over a week, over a month, over several months. It depends on, again, the learning plan, the curriculum, what you said as the learning plan, right? So you look at your
Yes.
learning plan and you say, okay, this module is going to take me 3 weeks. Over this 3 weeks, I'm going to take them from what? Knowledge to as high. Now, as high as I can on the pyramid, on the taxonomy, as high as I can, you have to determine that before the class. Well, before the class, right? So basically, the outcomes, what are the outcomes of the course? So you need to, so when your boss gives you the course outcomes, you need to take those course outcomes or excuse me, let me use the right terminology. You need to be able to take the expected outcomes, okay?
Mhm.
Because the boss is going to give you a syllabus. Hopefully they give you a syllabus, right? And there's going to be expected outcomes on that syllabus, right? What's expected out of the course or what the students are expected to do as a result of taking the course, which would be the outcomes. The expected outcomes are what we hope they get out of the course. That's the
Mhm.
expected outcome. That should be listed in the syllabus or in the block book, right? So
Mm.
you need to take that block book and be able to say, okay, module one or unit one is 4 weeks long. All right. Here's what they're expected to do. So I need to at least, at a minimum, from that 3 week module, take them to what is expected. What's expected may only be application. Okay. So on the course, application may be the only expectation. You follow me? So
Yes.
in the block book, the dean, the president, whoever's in charge, they may say, or whoever wrote the course, designed the course, may say, we only in this for this module or for this course, we only need the learners to be at the application phase,
So
right?
like what they did they really learn from?
Right. And you'll know that because if the course is written correctly, you'll see words like apply, change, employ, practice, right? You can say, oh, okay, that's the application phase. However, you don't meet your students until after the course is written, right? So some based on where they are, you may have students who are already at the application phase.
Mhm.
So you're going to move them higher. That's the difference between a teacher and an educator. See, the teacher might say, oh, I already got 3 students who are at the application phase. This course is going to be easy, right? Because I don't have to do anything with them. Whereas the educator says, oh, no, I'm going to take them now from application to synthesis, or from application to analysis, or from application to evaluation. Right? That's the difference between a teacher and an educator. Okay. But the key is to look at the block book or whatever the expected expectations of the course are and determine what that's the bare minimum. And then getting the students to the bare minimum and beyond if you can. If you get them to the bare minimum, you have met the course expectations. However, keep in mind that there may be some learners or some students in your course who's already at the course expectations or with a little instruction from you will be in a short period of time at that level. Now, what are you going to do with them for the remaining weeks, days, months in the course? this is where teaching gets problematic. You see? So this is where the learner profile comes in. The learner profile says, okay, I understand the course expectations is here. I have 4 students who are already there, or with a little bit more push from me, they're going to be there. There's going to be all this time left in the course. I'm now going to exceed the course expectation and take them to analysis, take them to synthesis. Okay. Now, a synthesis is a high order. If you ever
Mhm.
can get your students up here, you are like the best teacher ever. You're the best educator ever.
Mhm.
It is like, this is amazing if we can get them up here. Absolutely amazing. Right. So if we get them application, great. Right. Sometimes in some situations, just getting them the comprehension is enough. It depends on what the expectations of the course are. You would rarely see, you would rarely see the course block book or expectation say they want the students up here, unless you're teaching like a master's course or a doctorate
Mhm.
program, postgraduate. Okay. Um, but that doesn't mean we can't push them to go as high as they can. So what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you, you have to know your course intimately. You need to know your block book, your syllabus. You need to read that syllabus and know it well. And then you need to take that and match it with the learner profile. Now, again, I'm going to say it again because uh, you may not have heard that this might be the first time you're hearing the word learner profile. That learner profile includes what? Their wants, needs, and expectations. That includes their motivations that we talked about earlier, whether they're intrinsically motivated, extrinsically motivated, instrumentally motivated, integratively motivated. All right. That's what you put in
Mhm.
the learner profile. You also putting it in the learner, you're including in the learner profile um, where their level is in relation to the course. All right. All right. You're putting in what they have communicated to you, what their needs are, where are they apprehensive? Are they, so in that Google form I told you to give them, or however survey, however you decide to do it, but do it, right?
Mhm.
You ask them, why are you here? What do you expect out of the course, right? Um, what do you list 3 things? List your favorite movie. Now you might say, "Well, why am I listing my favorite movie?" Why do I want to know their favorite movie? Again, you want to know what motivates them. What's their thinking? What are the things that you can latch onto them to say, oh, to get some, like you said earlier, some type of connection. Because if you remember that when your students really likes The Godfather or really likes uh, old school or The Office, or he really enjoys comedies, you can start pulling from that. Or somebody like says starts to include like documentaries, you could tell that person's probably a very serious person. So you might not want to joke with that person a lot. You might want to talk more like facts with that
In
person, right?
diplomatic way.
Right. And be more diplomatic with that person. Knowing their favorite movie and music and things like this will give you insight on how to gain a relationship with them, and more importantly, how to take that information and use it in ways that turns into method or to affect the method. Okay. Now, synthesis. Synthesis is when a learner is able to take information that they know, that they have learned, and then create new information out of it. All right. They can create new information from it, or something, or a product from it. This is where your entrepreneurs are. You may have some people in your course, in your tourism course, they want to start their own business, tourism
Mhm.
business, or something like this. So they're going to need to be working on their synthesis. taking the information that you're giving them
Mm.
so they can create something from it, a
And some of
business.
them, I really label them to be in synthesized in the foundation year because they already know the units and the subjects I've been teaching them. So they, you know, I discovered they've been in the university before and they changed their study plan and come to the foundation year of the tourism, and they talk there for almost 1 year or year and a half, almost 2 years. And they, it was piece of cake for them, the subjects I gave them in the classes or in the foundation year.
Yeah.
So they say they passed this stage for a long time and reach the advanced stage from that
Yeah.
one we are
So why
studied in.
why put them through the torture if they so you understand where I'm coming from. You have people
Mhm.
who may be well more advanced than what you are giving the other students. So you need to give them something what we call teaching up, differentiate the instruction for them so that course is meaningful for them. So you're right. You need to look at more synthesis, analysis with them, and so they can get something out of the course. All right. Again, synthesis is taking something and then building something new from it. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, Great skill. The highest level of thinking is evaluation.
Mhm.
Evaluation is when you're able to take a comprehensive look at all synthesis, analysis, application, comprehension, and analysis, and you're able to make judgments, and you're able to become an advisor, if you will. You're able to build systems. So the best way to explain evaluation to you is you ever seen the television show Shark Tank? Or and the British version is Dragon's Lair, I think. Dragon's Lair. It's a
Dragon
show.
Lair, I think I heard it, but I've never seen it.
So
But I'll make it.
It's a show. Let me tell you what it's about because you may have seen the
Mhm.
clips on social media. There's
Mhm.
like four millionaires
Mhm.
on a stage. Okay, they're millionaires. Some of them may be even billionaires. All right, and
Mhm.
then a person stands in front of them with an idea, a business idea, or an invention. Okay, and they are trying to convince the
I've seen
billionaires,
it.
and
Yes.
you've seen it. I know you have, and they're trying to
Yes. Yes.
convince the millionaires to invest money in their
It's a
invention.
program, not like a show or something. So people
No,
can
it's a
invest
show
with
in
them.
America. In America, it's called Shark Tank, and it's a show. It's been on the air for a very long time, and I think it's also in a British version also. Um, and so the people on the stage, right, the millionaires and the billionaires, they're at the high level, right? They're evaluators, right?
Mhm.
Because they start a business. They've been through the knowledge phase, the comprehension phase, the application phase, the analysis phase, the synthesis phase, right? Now they run businesses, right? They have done it all of them, like they have been from 0 to 100. So
Mhm.
now they can look at other things and say, this is a bad business. This is a good business. Let me tell you why this invention will be good for the marketplace. Let me tell you why this invention will not be good for the marketplace. You follow me? Why? Because they have had so much experience. They're what we call SMEs, subject matter experts. All right. They're in the military, they're like special forces, this Navy SEALs, right? Navy SEALs and special forces and uh, uh, SAS and all these like big time, units. They're advisors, right? They advise
Mhm.
other units. Why? Because they're so good at their job, right? A consultant. right? A consultant that goes to work for the public fund or the Red Sea Project or Miss or any big company, right? Al Murray, any big company, right? They're at the high level, right? Where they can consult with the CEO, the CFO, right? The COO, with big directors in a company. Why? Because they're at a high level. They work for many companies, they build companies, they build projects, right? These are evaluators, right? The
Mhm.
Metro, the Riyadh Metro, all these
Mm.
projects, they have evaluators. Do this. You might want to do that, right? Why? Because they have built many metros before in other cities in other countries, right? They have
So I
30 years.
can, if you can correct me at this, I can, you know, uh, label them like CEOs or the owners or the
You
something.
don't have to. I'm using that as an example now
Yeah,
from a
yeah, as an
child.
example as well with me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
as
at the highest level. So basically, what we do as
yeah.
educators is we help develop them to become CEOs, to become presidents, to become
Mhm.
directors through the
Yes.
things that we do in the class. So when you get to the evaluator stage, right, our learners are able to interpret, justify, conclude, predict, relate.
Mhm.
Notice infer infer is a lower ordered skill, even though it's a high ordered skill. It's lower than predict because predict is a gamble. Prediction
Mm.
is a gamble. If inference is way more safer because you're taking it based on knowledge that you have, intel that you have, and you can make an inference that is not too far from the intel that you have, the information that you have. Whereas prediction is a bigger leap. In order to do that bigger leap, to conduct that bigger leap, you definitely need to have a lot of intel, a lot of experience. So evaluation is a high order skill, but and if we can get our students, our learners to that level, it's amazing. Because and this is why a lot of times you have to write papers and do research. You have to justify, judge, you explain, evaluate. Um, it's way more intimate. This is when we ask people to do research and write papers. And what we're trying to do is build their ability to evaluate. So that's the importance of like the thesis statement, right?
Mm.
Helping them write a thesis statement to build a thesis, to write researchable questions, right? This is a high level where again they become SMEs, subject matter experts. But again, don't get me wrong. In the courses that you teach, typically evaluation and synthesis are not going to be the expectation. It's normally going to
Yes.
be application,
And
comprehension,
comprehension.
and application. But
Mhm.
that doesn't mean we can't try to help them to get to the highest level possible. Again, that's the
Mhm.
difference between the teacher and the educator, right?
Yes.
The teacher says, okay, the block book just says you need to be at application, bus or finish. The
Mm.
educator says, okay, you're at application now. We still got a week left. We still got a little bit of time left. Let's try to now dive into analysis. Let's try now to dive into synthesis. Now, there's one other point I want to make before I leave this point. Um, this there is when you look at Bloom's taxonomy, there are two versions. Okay,
Mhm.
this version was devised by Dr. Ibrahim Blooms, okay, or Ibrahim in Arabic, Abraham in the West, Abraham Blooms. Um, he devised this with evaluation on top and synthesis below evaluation. Also, you see how these are verbs arranged, define, describe, defend,
Mm.
convert. He had them
Mm.
all as nouns. Okay. And later on in the 2000s, early 2000, I think 2001, his students who who trained under him revised the taxonomy. And they did two things. One, they changed the nouns into verbs, like you see right here. Two, they switched synthesis and made to be on top of evaluation. So they switched synthesis to be the highest ordered skill. However, people like me and business people said that that was wrong. In fact, I wrote papers about how that switch was incorrect and that evaluation is a higher skill than synthesis. So you may see this again and say, oh man, Dr. Ray was wrong. Synthesis is higher than evaluation. No. In the business world, they still use this model. However, in
Mm.
academia, you may either see this model or the new model, depending on the person. So, like for me, I'm always going to use this model. Other people may use the other model and don't even know why they're using the other model. But the point is, every educator, whether you are a every educator, teacher, and even instructor uses Bloom's taxonomy. This is the basis in which you teach, whether ESL, tourism, math, social sciences, doesn't matter. This is the basis in which you teach people, whether it be an individual or
To know the level of their knowledge, by the way.
not to know their level from the pretest and then help them what? Move up, right? To meet the course objectives, the course outcomes, and to move up. Because we're always teaching up, right? Remember, as an educator, even as a teacher, you're always teaching up. Okay. So Bloom's taxonomy is the guide to know that you are teaching up. This is the guide. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's the guide to know that that you're meeting the course outcomes. You cool? All right.
Mhm.
Now, this is also important because I'm going to give you a break in 10 minutes. We're going to finish one more thing and I'll give you a break.
Okay, take your
Um,
time.
the the in order to do what we do best, and that is to conduct a lesson, we have to have the course outcomes, we have to have the standards to tell us so we know where we need to be, right? And what to teach and where we need to be. Um, then we have to create a lesson, right? We walk in the class, we have to give the learner something to do, right? We have to have a plan, right? Our
Mhm.
plan are derived from these verbs that you see here, based on the based on the decision that you made from the pretest. This is why pretests are important because you're going to determine what level they are and then where to start them. Okay. So what we have to do is write smart objectives when we do lesson. Have you ever heard of a smart objective?
Smart objective. Yes, I heard.
Okay. Tell me something. Tell me what you know about smart objectives.
Okay, it's almost like a plan. Not a plan. I will resemble them to be how do the student or someone to can get the point in a smart way, or in the shortest way, or in the perfect way.
Um, okay. All right.
It's not
That's
complete the smart, but it's
hold
some
on.
of it.
let me give you some information
Mhm.
because this is core in the teaching. This is like major, 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 major. But you got to know Bloom's first. All right, what do I need? All right, make sure you're taking notes.
Okay.
All right, smart objectives. After this, we'll take a break.
Smart
Now you got to
objective.
keep Bloom. You got to keep Blooms in mind. Now, don't forget about Blooms. You got to
Okay,
keep Blooms in
and
mind.
Bloom's, let me just catch the correct name. Bloom's model? No, Bloom's
Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's
taxonomy.
taxonomy.
Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, that will be
All right.
great as well.
All right. I'm gonna include this in the Google Classroom. Actually, it's already in the module. It's already there, but I'm going to include this infographic because this is a good one for you to have.
Actually, Bloom's taxonomy, it was a great additional because you know what? I can resemble them to, let's assume that there is a student who wants to be a dean or at the highest things in the in the educational institute. So he starts as
Go ahead. Go ahead. Continue.
it's just okay, cut off. Okay, so the first thing is he be knowledge. I think so. Knowledge as to be the first year student. So to be comprehension, it's in the mid of his studying in the college, for example. And application is he when he graduates from the college. For example, I just resemble it to resemble the levels itself. So analyze it when he teaching in the college, for example, if we are so admirable about his major, and so that's it. Okay, synthesis, it's when he teaching and he is a little bit away from the to be dean, for example. Okay, evaluation, it's to become a dean in the college or the or in the education institution he's in. Okay, I'm not just say that it's 100%, but I'm just
No, no. Listen,
resemble
I get.
an
Look, you're.
example or something.
I see that you're trying to work with the Blooms. Absolutely, a dean would be an evaluation. He should be an
Yes.
evaluation. But what I want you to look at Blooms as look at Blooms from the perspective of thinking, how we think. So you don't to be an evaluator, you don't have you could be the cleaner. You could be a cleaner and still have an evaluation mindset. So
Mhm.
you can be
Yes.
a cleaner. So you don't just have to be a dean. Anyone, everyone. There's some deans that are not evaluators. You
Yes, they're
see?
still in the knowledge base.
So and then they're cleaners who have the evaluated mindset. It's how we think.
Mhm.
How we think. All right. It's our thinking. Evaluation is the highest level of thinking. And so for us as educators, we want to move our students as close as high as possible. Bus. As high as
Mhm.
possible. Okay. You don't if you can get them to evaluation, great. However, a lot of times comprehension is enough. A lot of times application is enough. A lot of times synthesis is it's a lot of times comprehension and application is enough. Especially application. Okay. Now,
Mhm.
once you have blooms or no blooms, where's my board working? Hold on a second. Hold on, my whiteboard. My son has my whiteboard, my board. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I can see the indicators in your code.
All right, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to get this thing to work. Give me one.
Take your time.
Give me 1 second. I try to get this to work.
Take your time. Take your time.
Okay, think I'm good now. All right, smart. S. So when we write lessons, we have an objective for every lesson, right?
Mm.
We have lesson objectives. Okay. Those objectives must be smart. So remember Bloom's, right? We
Yes.
want to get them, we want to get them up the pyramid, up the thinking pyramid. That's Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. Want to get them up from knowledge all the way up to evaluation. So you got knowledge, comprehension. What's after comprehension? You finish everything? Good job. I mean,
Mhm.
knowledge, comprehension, application, and then synthesis. All right. We want to move them up that taxonomy, right? How
Mhm.
do we do that? Through the lessons that we give them, right? We give them lessons, right? They come to
Yes.
class. All right. Before they come to class, that means we have objectives. What are you doing now?
I need to give you, I think I need to go to another shopping.
Huh?
You saw, I need to do so. I don't need them.
All right. Um, so we have lessons that we give the students to help them move up the taxonomy, right?
Mhm.
All right. We use something called SMART objectives in our lesson. All right. The S
Mhm.
stands for specific. That means our learning objectives have to be specific. All right. So it might look something like students will be able to right. So by the end of the class, sometimes people say by the end of the class, right? Students will be able to, one, uh, point to the engine in battery of in a car. All right.
Mhm.
We just want them to point to it. All right. Now notice I said point to. That's very specific, isn't it? That's what is that not specific to point to the engine? That's very specific, right?
Yes.
Right. So when we write smart objectives, they must be specific. I want you to point to them. I want you to touch, right? I want you to point to it. I want you to touch it, right? That's specific. Okay.
1 minute.
I want you
Uh,
to identify. Identify. All right. If it's a sheet of paper, I want you to circle. I want you to underline. All right. Very specific. Underline. Very specific. If I can learn how to spell underline. All right. Very specific. All right. I want you to write a sentence, write a paragraph, write a sentence. Very specific. You see? Write a paragraph. I want you to circle the noun, underline the verb. All right. I want you to describe in writing. All right. I want you to uh, tell. All right. Very specific. The M is measurable.
This like to make a decision or think in a way, or it is more
No,
freely than specific.
this is for you. Oh, you talking about measurable? Measurable is for the teacher to be able to see whether the student can do it. So
Mm-hmm.
going back to you and your wife, right? If you tell your wife, honey, point to the engine, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
specific. Point to the engine. Now you can measure that. Did she point to the engine or not? If she pointed to the battery, she didn't point to the engine. And that means you need to do what? Reteach. You need to show her the engine again, right? But
Yes.
if she points to the engine, she now knows what the engine looks like, at least. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because that's measurable. You could determine whether the student did it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's measurable. The next one, the A is attainable. Okay, attainable is this something, or sometimes you see the word achievable.
Achievable. Is the same meaning of the attainable?
Same meaning as attainable. Can this is
Mm-hmm.
this something a student is able to do? Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask your wife to lift up the engine, is she going to be able to lift the engine up with her hands?
Mm-hmm. So you can see it's achievable. They can
Yeah, it's
lift
not.
the engine or
That wouldn't
not.
be, that wouldn't be achievable, right? Your wife would not
Yes.
be able to. She's not going to be able to lift the engine. You can't lift the engine with your hand, right?
Yes.
If you ask your wife, I don't know, maybe she can do it. But if you ask your wife to change the spark plugs,
Mm,
she probably won't be able to change the spark plugs, especially in these new cars. These new cars, it's hard to change the spark plugs, right? Right?
mm-hmm.
That might not be achievable for her at the moment. But the better example would be you're not going to ask her to lift the engine up. That's not something achievable. Just like a first grader. Remember, I said, can a first grader multiply 235 times 365? Probably not, unless they're a genius. And to ask first graders to do that, that's not something the average first grader is able to do. So that's not attainable. It's not achievable. So we want to make sure that we're asking our learners to do things that's within their abilities. Is it within their abilities? Okay. If somebody was learning English, if someone was learning English, you're not going to ask them to write a 5-page essay, will you?
Yes.
And no, you're not going to do it because they're still learning English. They don't have the ability to do it. All right.
Mhm.
The next one is R, realistic. Is this or relevant? Sometimes people say relevant. All right. Realistic, relevant. What this one deals with is this something that the students actually need to know? Right?
Mhm.
Do they actually need to know this? Is this really important? to the course, to their wants, needs, and expectations. This is again why the learner profile is extremely important. Is this important for their wants, needs, and expectations? Right? Is this something that they need to know? Let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Do you think in 2026, is it important that people know how to type?
Yes, they should.
Yes and no. Now, I'm much older than you. I am much older than you, right? I'm 50 years old. You're 29, I'm 50. When I was in school, I had to learn, when I was in the sixth grade, no,
Mhm.
actually, when I was in the eighth grade, I had to learn how to type 120 words per minute.
Oh,
120
they're
words.
too much heavy for this.
Now, but when I was in the sixth grade, that was an important skill to know how to type. Now in 2026, it's no longer relevant. It's no longer important for people to be able to type. Yes, you're right. To know how to lay your hands on the keyboard and type words out, that's important. But we don't need to know how to type 126 words per minute any longer. That's not important. It used to
Yeah, for
be
this, yes.
for 2026. Now, when in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 60s, even in the 90s, people would put on their CVs, I can type 150 words per minute. Why?
It
Because,
will mean unworthy for them. Yeah, well, maybe this was
but
old method too.
it's old. It's old. Now it's not, now it's no good. Now it's not important. Okay.
Mhm.
So what the R means is realistic. Is it relevant? Are you teaching something that they really need to know? Okay. And
Mm.
then the last one is timely, meaning whatever you teaching them, let's say you have, how long do you teach your class for? Is it an hour? Is it 50 minutes, 30 minutes? How long is the class?
50 minutes.
50 minutes. So in a lesson, whatever you're teaching them, you should be able to do everything in the 50 minutes. So all the objectives must be able to be completed within 50 minutes. If
Mhm.
it takes you 2 hours to do it, it's not timely. Okay. Now, all of these indicators must be met in order to have a smart objective. By the
Mhm.
end of the class, students will be able to point to the engine and the battery of a car, right?
Mhm.
Change, maybe change the battery of a car. Do you think you could teach people how to change the battery of a car in 50 minutes?
No, or maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
50
not
minutes. It's
really
not that
experienced.
hard to change the battery. You could do that in 50 minutes. Could you, in 50 minutes, can you show them how to jump their car with another car using jumper cables?
Mm. Just
You
to
know that
share some electricity.
no, you know when the car battery is dead, we have a
Ah,
dead
yes,
battery.
yes, yes. You can show them in
Can you
10
show some
minutes as well.
that in 50 minutes?
Yes, you can even in 5 minutes.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can do that in 5 minutes. Absolutely. So
Mhm.
you could put, and today's objective could be by the end of the class, students will be able to one, point to the engine and the battery of a car or in a car.
Mhm.
Two, two, um, jump start a car using jumper cables. Jump start a car or charge a battery using jumper cables and a fresh battery, right?
Mhm.
Three, change the battery of a car if the battery is completely. Oh, let's say three, test to see if the battery is dead.
Mhm.
Four, can you do that in 5 minutes? Can you show somebody how to read the battery tester?
This same with jumper cable. It will not
Yeah,
take much time because
it
it's
won't take
unit
time.
device and see measure the electricity. Yes,
Right,
it will
that's it.
not take 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. So right now, point to the engine. How long that take?
Less than 10 seconds. Let's see, 10 seconds.
Seconds. 10 seconds.
Mhm.
Point to the battery. How long that take?
10 seconds as well.
10 seconds. Jump start the battery. How long? You said jump start the battery.
Let's see, 2 minutes.
3 minutes. Test the battery with a tester.
2 minutes as well.
Change the battery.
5 minutes or ten
Five.
minutes.
So that's a total of maybe 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes, right?
Yes, it's almost yeah. Let's see, in 20 minutes range or less than it.
Okay, less 20 or 20 minutes or less. You got 11 students in your class that you want to try that out. That was practice.
Let's see,
You have,
7 of
you have
them.
four, you have four car, you have 11 students and you have four cars. Can you
Mm-hmm.
do that in 50 minutes?
With all students.
Yeah, you got four cars, you have four dead batteries. So you have four cars to
Uh,
work on, you have 11 students.
Maybe I have half an hour to rotate
Half
the
an hour.
students.
So all that, so 30 minutes for practicing, 20 minutes for showing. Huh?
No, I just rotate the students, so I will let them all to apply the same job. Or you know what? It's no need to rotate them, just to show them in 4 cars. So yes, as we been before, in 20 minutes.
So you could do all of that in 50 minutes, right? You think you can do all
Yes.
of that in 50? Absolutely. So we would have had so all of our objectives pointing to the engine, jump starting the battery, testing the battery, and changing the battery. These are all smart because they're specific, they're measurable. I could tell whether the student did it or not. They're attainable, that's within their ability. They're realistic. People should know how to change the battery, how to jumpstart a battery, and it's timely. You did it all in 50 minutes. Congratulations, you wrote a smart objective.
Oh.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's a smart objective. All right, let's do this. We covered a lot for this module. That's all I really want you to know for today. I want you to know the difference between an educator and a learner. I want you to
Mhm.
know, excuse me, the difference between a teacher and an educator and an instructor.
Okay,
Remember,
1 minute. Let me
remember,
just put the notes beside me. So anything new or anything so important, and I need to type it down, I'll just make it a note.
Note.
so
Okay.
here's I'm
Uh,
gonna upload this video for you so you can watch it again if you need to. Today's session.
okay, that will be perfect as well. Actually, this session, I feel it so. I've been so enjoyable to it. I was about to say, no, I thought it would be so much headacheable, or it's something so difficult. I need to read more and more in the models and see. But you know what? It's something. It was easier, and I can grasp it so easier and understanding it, and it was perfect. By the way,
Thank you.
I give him 10 out of 10
Thank you.
without complimentary, of course.
Thank you. All right. So what we covered today is the
Mhm.
difference between an educator, teacher, and instructor. Remember, instructor doesn't care. He's going to teach or she's going to teach the module because they need to teach the process. But teachers and educators are different. It's not really about process with teachers and educators. We talked about the learner profile and why that is important. Why it's important to know the students' wants, needs, and expectations, what they like, what they don't like, why it's important to get the pre-test, why it's important to know why they're there. We talked about the 4 different types of motivation. We talked about intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, instrumental
Mm-hmm.
motivation, integrative motivation. We then went on to talk about Bloom's taxonomy and why that is important in teaching and learning, how we want to move the students from knowledge to evaluation, how we move them up the pyramid. However, we do it based on the course expected outcomes. So we need to know what is expected of the course. What are the expectations? What are the standards that we need to meet at a minimum? A teacher will meet the minimum standards and be happy. An educator exceeds the minimum standards whenever she can or he can. The educators
Mm-hmm.
continuously up. We then we also said, as it relates to Bloom's, that you don't have to get to evaluation. We get to where we get to based on where our students are. Also, Bloom's is important to remember because every student is not going to be at the bottom of Bloom's at the beginning of your course. That's why you do the pre-test. And those students who may be in the comprehension level or the application level, or even the synthesis level, we need to give them something different to do. Lastly,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about smart objectives. And we we said that these smart objectives are how we're going to help the learner move up the pyramid, up Bloom's taxonomy. We help them move up Bloom's taxonomy through these smart objectives. We said the S is for specific, that each thing that we teach the student has to be very specific. We know that it's specific because we can measure it. It has to be measurable. The teacher has to be able to see that the student able to do the specific thing. 3, attainable, achievable. Can the student do it within their current abilities? 4, realistic and relevant. Is this something the student really needs to know? Or is this like typing 126 words per minute? They don't really need it. It's outdated, it's antiquated. It doesn't align with their wants, needs, and expectations. And then 4, timely. Are you able to do all of these things within the time that you are allotted? In your case, 50 minutes. All right. Do you have any questions
Mm-hmm.
for me, Seth?
Till this very moment, no. I just thank you for that same the basic and the I just want to describe something, but it's wasn't the tip of my tongue and a little bit. But I want to thank you. It was so much easier than I thought, and
No
what
problem.
I could grasp it. If I preview the video 2 days after 2 days, I think I'm just gonna download it directly into my mind, just like as an any device could do.
Well, I would advise that. I would definitely advise that. Now, here's how we're going to move
Yeah.
forward. Here's
This
how we're
is
going to
my technique, by the way. If I see something, I revise it after 2 days, 3 days, and revise it for three, fourth time, and it will be just directly installed in my mind.
perfect.
So easier and smarter way, I think. Yeah. So I think I thank you. Thank you for the to record this session because I really gonna need it for revised it from time to time.
No problem.
So it's
So,
much
here's how
easier
we're
for
going to move
me.
forward. There's another session
Mhm,
that I want to give you related to teaching
mhm,
listening, teaching speaking, teaching
mhm,
reading, and teaching writing. All right. I'm going to give you, just like I did today, it's going to take me
mhm,
about 2 hours. All right. But I don't want to do it today because there's something called cognitive load. I've given you a lot of information today, and I don't want to overload the information because basically what would happen is you will
Mm-hmm.
jumble all the information up. I want you to keep this information fresh and clear in your mind. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can can we meet
Absolutely
again?
going to.
Can we meet again this week for another 2 hours to go over teaching, reading, teaching, listening, speaking, reading, and writing?
Okay, when I'm totally gonna be available in any time, not in college work hours time. In the evening times or in the afternoon times, I can
So
be out.
what time are you available? Are you available at 5 o'clock?
Yes, 5
Okay.
or even 4.
Okay, perfect. 4 is even better. So I
Mm.
need from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Let's say Monday, 4 to 6. Is
Monday,
that good for
okay,
you? All right.
it
Let's
goes
do
as well
four to
for me as well.
4 to 6. All right. Now what I want you to
4,
do,
6. Mhm,
what I want you to do is you can do two things. Well, no, I
mhm.
want you to go into the textbook that I downloaded in the Google Classroom, the Smooth Move textbook, and look at the units dealing with teaching reading.
By the way, could I take it from 3 p.m. to 5? Or if
You can't,
it is better for
no,
you to take it from 4?
no, even 3 is good for me also. Is better
Mhm.
for me. 3 to 5. Okay.
Okay, 3 to
So
5, I can schedule it and make it.
we'll do Monday 3 to 5. What I want you to do before Monday 3 to 5 is go over look in the Smooth Moves textbook and
Mm-hmm.
review. I want you to review teaching, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Just review the chapters. It's very short. Each module is
Okay.
very short. And then I'm going to explain each one to you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other questions for today?
No, appreciate everything you do.
No problem. All right, I'm gonna download this video,
Mm-hmm.
and I will include it in the Google Classroom shortly. All right.
Okay.
All right. So we'll see you Monday at 3 o'clock.
Okay, Mr. Rainer, I'm so appreciated and it was honorable to be with you in this session. And of course, inshallah, I'm gonna meet you in a Monday as the same schedule time, 3 to
Sounds good.
5 p.m. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay,
We'll see you.
thank you.
All right. Bye for now.
Okay, okay. Have a good day.
See how do I stop this? Oh, there we go.